What's up, you guys, and welcome to the Everything Travel Nerd Show. I'm your host, Travel Nerd Gary, and today we have a really awesome episode for you because we're going to be talking about one of my favorite subjects, and that is goals, creating goals. It's one of my best skills as a travel nurse and something I'm really good at. So I'm going to share with you today how I take an entire week every single year and dedicate it to Goals Week. And while we're accomplishing Goals Week, we're actually in a really beautiful location, probably one of the most popular destinations for travelers during the wintertime. We're talking about beautiful Phoenix, Arizona. Now let's just take a second to enjoy this beautiful view overlooking South Mountain. So you're telling me that you don't even know where you're going to be at in 6 months from now, and yet you're going to make long-term goals throughout the entire year? Can't be done. Or at least that's what everybody's told you of your life. Think about it. So why would you ever want to take an entire week of your life and dedicate it to just writing goals when you're a travel nurse? So the reason why I created Goals Week, it was actually 3 years ago, and I remember my first year through travel nursing, it was just kind of like I fumbled, I made my way up through the entire process. I didn't really have a way of doing things. I just called my recruiter and we just went to the next gig. I wanted to have more accountability for myself as a travel nurse. So when I created Goals Week 3 years ago, this is the third year in a row, and every single year it changes a little bit in the direction that I want to take it. But the main reason why I did it was I wanted to have measurability in tracking myself and making sure that I was being like all the travel nurse I could be and just doing all the things that I really wanted to, but make sure that I accomplished more than what I was prior to just making things up. So as I said, Goals Week has changed quite a bit over the last 3 years, but it's always started off every single year with reading books, and the books have changed. What I like to do is on Sunday, I always read the first book, and that is, the first book is always The Art of War. It's one of my favorite books. I read it every single year during Goals Week, the last 3 years in a row. And what I want to say is that it's not a book on war, it's a book on the importance of understanding strategy in situations, and I kind of use it towards a life strategy and understanding those importance of using it in your life. Going over to the second book. So the second book that I read every single year is The Richest Man in Babylon. And this is a book that really teaches the life lesson of understanding long-term goals and being on a very particular path towards riches, and understanding that you need to be strategic in also being an economist. So this is one of the books that I read every single year. I really highly recommend it to you guys. It's a pretty short read. You can get it done in an hour. The last book that I just started reading this year is Ikigai, and this is a Japanese philosophy towards how Japanese live their lives, and I really enjoy reading about how much fulfillment they get out of life. And so I try to emulate the best of each society, because I travel a lot and I'm able to travel all throughout the states and throughout the world, and picking up on each country's best feature, like the Japanese and their sense of fulfillment in life. This is one of the books that I incorporate in my life, and so I made it a permanent book of Goals Week. So that's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and that's how I always start off every single week reading those 3 books, because it really just puts me in a strategical long-term point of view. Now on Wednesday, that's when the real heavy goal writing begins. I always take Wednesday and dedicate it to just writing my goals and what I really want to accomplish that year. In fact, I actually wrote a sample for you guys. Let's go to it now. This is what the Goals Week looks like on Microsoft Word. So this is what it actually looks like on Microsoft Word. I actually like to sit down, look at my goals. I rewrite them throughout the entire week, but here you can actually see them. You can look at them, and then when you can stop and think about like, how am I going to accomplish these goals, you can take a look at each and every single one of them, which is very strategic for me, and I really enjoy that. Now this is the part of the show where we're going to take a closer look. Every week's going to be a little bit different what we look at, depending on where my mind decides to take us. But there's different aspects of travel nursing that we just don't always think about that really do deserve a closer look. So one of the things I want to talk about on this week's closer look is nursing throughout the entire world. There's a shortage everywhere you go, from Northern Ontario to Los Angeles to Sydney, Australia, Great Britain. If you do some research, you can see that throughout the entire world, nurses are really struggling. And so what I really want to talk about is my annual health goal. Every single year, we always talk about what can I do to make myself a healthier individual. So every year I always take and make it like a health goal I try and do every single day. One year I did drinking water. One year I did brush my teeth. This year it's working out a little bit more than what I have been in the past, and it's especially important with what's going on in the world right now with this illness that's spreading throughout the world. It's really important that you're healthy and you're getting that daily exercise. Listen, we've got an entire video on stress management, my top 5 stress management technique. If you've never seen it, check it out. It's really good, eh? So once we get through Wednesday, Thursday's a little bit different in that we take those goals, we reevaluate them, and Thursday's a lot of thinking about how we're going to accomplish all of these goals and tasks. Because it's not just free. You can't just do all these things that you want to that's written down and just get them done. So you have to stop and think about, how am I going to accomplish these goals? And so Thursday is really a day of thinking about how and what are the resources I need in order to accomplish these tasks. So a good example of like, how am I going to accomplish one of these goals? If we look at one of my goals of backpacking through the Grand Canyon, you literally can't do that without a backpacking permit. So stopping and thinking about, how am I going to accomplish this? This is actually printing it out, and this is a lot of that background information that you need to do to accomplish those goals. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday this year was actually a big resource planning that I had to really implement to make sure I could accomplish all these. So doing all the research I needed to make sure I could accomplish all of my goals was really like almost a 3-day process. And while I'm doing all these different readings on how to accomplish all of my goals, I'm rewriting them every single step of the way so that I can set myself up for success. So it's really taking every single day and making sure that you do all of the research on writing all of your goals to make sure you can, because this year in 2022 we have some really big goals, and we have channel goals for the YouTube. We've got goals financially, we've got goals vacation-wise, places that we want to go. And it's just like, when you take a look at all the things that I want to accomplish in a year, you have to like condense it down into 1 week and really plan it all out. It just helps you schedule everything together, and that's why I love Goals Week. It's almost something I look forward to now, because it's like, what am I going to do this year? It's awesome, actually. It's a lot of fun, and it's something that I love. I'm always going to do it. And I think that on this channel in the future, we're always going to have Goals Week, and we're going to publish it so that the future generation, maybe they can pick up on it and say, hey, you know what? That's a good idea. I can be more productive, and I can have larger life goals if I do this. And it's one of my best subjects. So I want to share it with you. And that's pretty much Goals Week for you, wrapped up into Can.